Today we are making a video on Ubuntu Budgie 23.04. This is a stable version and it's a flavor of Ubuntu, and the latest version of Ubuntu Budgie is 23.04 Lunar Lobster. Here is the boot menu. In order to boot in a live mode, just try or install Ubuntu Budgie and click on enter. It's going to take a maximum of 1 minute or minimum of 30 to 40 seconds. That's the basic timing of every Linux distro. If it's good ISO file, then it should be having these timings. If it's a bad ISO file, or if they had bugs, or it's a beta version, alpha version, or a pre-release, it's going to take a maximum of 2.5 minutes to 1 minute 30 seconds, like that. That's the timings. Again, it's a stable version. If a tip from me is that always boot it in a live boot first for like 7 to 8 hours. After you're satisfied without any bugs, then go to the installation. Just don't try to install it right as you download. So it's always a good option to boot it in a live boot for few hours, or at least a 1 day. If you want, you can do that like that and go with the installation after you're satisfied. So again, I am using virtualization, which is a VMware with 80 GB of hard disk, 4 GB of RAM and 2 processors. So I said this because to boot it in a live boot, because I don't want to ruin your PC. I don't want you to ruin your PC by just with what you call it, like if you can't wait for that to test, you can go with the VMware or the VirtualBox, which are virtualization. Try to install it on a VMware or a VirtualBox. It will be good. If you want to try to install it on a hard disk, it's always a better option to download and use it as a live boot first for 7 to 8 hours, then go with the installation after satisfied. Because I'm saying this again and again, because in every video also, because I don't want you to ruin your PC. So that's the main thing there. So I'll be posting 2 videos daily without missing any day. So here is another content. The other content will be available, which is also ready. So if you want to watch that, watch this video completely and then go to the other video. So here is a Ubuntu new wallpaper, which is Ubuntu Budgie 23.04, which would be almost loaded up to the desktop layout. This is a Lunar Lobster wallpaper. It is taking a lot of time. Usually it doesn't take that much time, but if you ask me for this Linux distro, if you love it, my answer is no, because I hate this Linux distro. Not the Linux distro, it's a flavor like Ubuntu Budgie, Ubuntu Unity and Ubuntu Kalean. These 3 Linux or the 3 Ubuntu flavors, I really hate them. If you ask my opinion, I'm not going to recommend this. People who love it, I have no problem with that. You can love it. It's just my opinion. I don't like these 3 Linux flavors or 3 Ubuntu flavors. So here is the options of try Ubuntu Budgie in a live boot, and this is the installation. Always try it in a live boot. If you're satisfied with the live boot, then go to the installation, because if you find any bugs, it will be a mental torture for you. If you quickly install it without knowing that, you should be having a lot of torture there. So it's always better option, go with the live boot first, then go with the installation. First you need to choose your language. There are plenty of languages available. I'm going to choose English and click on try Ubuntu Budgie. So it should take like a maximum of 20 seconds maybe, and we should be having our desktop layout completely loaded with all the apps and complete desktop in front of us. So again I'm running it on a VMware. I'm going to mention that. Here is a black screen. We should be seeing our mouse pointer. Here is a welcome screen of Ubuntu Budgie 23.04, which is a Lunar Lobster codename. So it says install now. We are not going to install it right now. Let's first change the display resolution because it looks odd. I have a 1920 into 1080 resolution. Let's go to the Budgie control center, I guess. Let's change the display settings. Mine is 1920 into 1080 with a 16:9 ratio. Click on apply. If you can't properly see the text size or a font size properly, you need to scale it up to 200%. If you have a fractional scaling, 150% or 120% will be perfect for 920 into 1080. That's the best option. So let's quickly scroll it down and check the about of the Linux distro. So the device name is Ubuntu Budgie, and this is my processor, this is my RAM, which is a 4 GB. This capacity is 80 GB, but it says 85.9 GB. And Budgie version is a 10.7.1. Operating system name is Ubuntu 23.04. It says because it is a flavor of Ubuntu, so it is. And 64-bit architecture, the 32-bit is not available for the Ubuntu flavors. So the Windows system is X11. It says virtualization is a VMware because I am using a VMware. So the latest kernel is 6.2.0/20. The latest version of Linux kernel released today is 6.3. So it's still the latest version. So let's close this thing and open the system monitor, because we want to see how much resources are consumed before running any apps. And I'm going to show that system monitor again at the end of the video. So you should be having an idea of how much exact resources are consumed. So let's check the about, which is 1.26.0. Let's first check the distro info. Here are some of the distro info. Here are the processes. Here are the resources. Let me change the color so you can properly locate this thing. So if you want to write it down, you can write down the CPU and the memory, or you can just remember. Or if you can't do that both, you can just keep my video side by side from the beginning of the video and ending of the video. You should be having an exact numbers of how much resources are consumed. Right now it's almost a 1.4 GB. If you have a 2 GB of RAM, it's going to be very hard to use this Linux distro, because it's already 1.4 GB right now, and 2 GB RAM should be having like a 1.8 GB. After running just 2 to 3 apps, it's going to be full, completely full. So you should be having a laggy or a delay in opening the apps, and it will be very torture for you. So if you ask me, if you are having a 2 GB of RAM, should I use this Linux distro? So that's not a good idea in my opinion. So it's clearly up to you. If you want to use it still, you can do that. So these are all the resources and memory right now. So let me close this thing and open the terminal, because we want to get every distro info. The terminal is Tilix. So let's check the version of Tilix, 1.9.5. So let's type in the command to get all the distro info, which is inxi-sv8 to get every distro info. So let's go through all this thing. System, which is a host, is Ubuntu Budgie. Kernel is 6.2.0. It's a 64-bit architecture. Compiler is not available. And desktop environment is a Budgie version 10.7.1. And LightDM version is a 1.30.0. Distro is Ubuntu 23.04 Luna Lobster, because it's Ubuntu flavor. On the machine side, it says VMware because I'm using a VMware. BIOS Phoenix version is 6.00, and on the RAM side it says 1.41 GB, which is 37% of 4 GB RAM. And here is my CPU. If you want to see all this, here is the CPU. Let's scroll it down and find some of other info. Display is X11, server is Xorg version 1.21.1.7, and VMWGFX version is 2.20.0. And we still have, here is a monitor available resolutions for the display. Complete display resolutions are here. API OpenGL version is 4.1. Mesa is 23.0.2. So let's scroll it down again. Pulse audio version is 16.1. Pipewire version is 0.3.65. So let's scroll it down again and find some other info. And INXI version is 3.3.25. We are running on Tilix, it says here, which is command line. Shell bash version is 5.2.15. Processors running right now are 297. Uptime is 7 minutes. And wake ups are 21. Init systemd version is 252. So let's type in same command, which in short form, which is for example INXI, which will provide the same information from the above, but in a short form. So let's type in another command, which is inxi-small b. Click on enter. Again we get the same information in a short form. Let's type in inxi-G. Click on enter. Again we got the same information. Let's type in neofetch, because some people want to know the neofetch also. We already got every information, but some people want to see neofetch also. So for them, let's try to install the neofetch by typing the command, which is a sudo apt install or neofetch. Sudo apt install neofetch. This is a command you need to type. It's going to take a few seconds to install this. You need to type Y for yes and N for no to install the neofetch. It's going to take like a 30 seconds or under 20 seconds, like that. Sometimes depends on the internet connection, like that. So we should be having our neofetch. After neofetch installed, we should see like a stop also. So let's type in neofetch and hit enter. Here is our neofetch. You can see all these things. So let's type in cat etc issue, enter, which is Ubuntu 23.04. So let's type in htop. Htop should be installed. It is installed, pre-installed. So the RAM is almost 912 MB of 4 GB. Tasks are 119, and this is the CPU. So we got every distro info, complete distro information. So let's close this thing. So let me open the Firefox web browser and let me show you how to download the Ubuntu Budgie 23.04 Lunar Lobster from their official website. And I'm going to show you the download process and some information also there. So the Firefox version should be 311.1, which is the latest version. Here is the version. Let's type in the search term, which is Ubuntu Budgie 23.04. Here is the search term. Here is the daily build. Here is the release notes. Here is a release note. You need to go to all the, this is the official website of the Ubuntu Budgie. If you want to update or upgrade, here is the information, new features, all these things, how to update, everything is here. This is the command you need to type to upgrade from version 22.04 and 22.10. So these are all the new features. Let's scroll it down. If you want to go through all these things, you can go through their website and check this, all these things. You can do that here. The availables is here, final release. Here are the available versions. If you want to download 22, 23, 22.10, here are the information. So I'm going to choose Ubuntu Budgie 23.04. This is the official website and this is the URL to download. If you want to download directly, you can download, or you can download to torrent. If you want to read it. You can download for other also here, Raspberry Pi, like that. Click on direct download and we should be having our download here. The file size is around 3.2 GB and I'm using a VPN, so it's slow. So let me close this thing, because we already downloaded and we are making a video on it, so it will be waste of time to show you the complete download. So let's close this thing. Let me show you the installation process. I'm not going to install it, I'm just going to show you the format of installation. I launched the installation software or installation installer. You should be having our installer opened. Again, it's the same installation step, and we don't have the new installer of the Ubuntu because Ubuntu has with the GNOME desktop environment has only the new installer. Other Ubuntu flavors doesn't have the new installer. It's still they are still using the old installer, which is a bit weird and is also delaying to install because it takes some time to load up everything. So let's go to the installation process. First you need to choose the language. I am choosing the English. There are plenty languages available right here. If you want to go through all these languages, it's up to you to choose your own language. And the keyboard layout, I'm going to choose English US. You can choose any other language. Click on continue, or you can test your keyboard here. So updates and other software, click on normal installation. Check these two buttons. On the normal installation, you get everything which the ISO file provides, And on the minimal installation, you just get a web browser and basic utilities like a text editor, mouse, some calculator like that. That's the minimal installation. It's better option to always choose a normal installation. And other updates are these are the important things. If you choose this right now, you can do that. If you want to uncheck it, you can do that later after the installation. If you ask me, it's better to go with a check button like this, because it's going to download the latest updates. It's also better, and it's going to install third-party software for graphics, Wi-Fi and media formats. It's also best. So I'm going to choose both this thing, checking like this. Click on continue. It's going to say like preparing Ubuntu drivers. It's going to take like 30 to 40 seconds to completely give the partition styles. So instead of waiting, let's go to all the desktop features, which is notifications here. This is also same, still nothing changed. Shutdown options, volume, internet connection, file manager, some text pad or the notepad you can call it. If you want to write it down there, you can write it. Some display desktop layout. So here is the installation type. You need to be very careful, and you need to do what you need to understand what you're doing here. You need to have an idea of what you're doing here. So if you choose erase disk and install Ubuntu Budgie, you need to be booting in a single boot. It's going to delete the current operating system, delete everything in your hard disk or SSD. If you're running it on a virtual machine or a VMware VirtualBox like that, no problem. If you're using it on a hard disk, so be careful, it's going to delete everything. So it's going to boot in a single boot. If you choose something else, it's going to ask for a partition style. If you choose, you need to provide the two partitions or any partition like that. You need to resize. You can do that on your own. So you should be having an idea of what you're doing here. This is option to dual boot operating systems. So I'm going to choose erase disk and everything and click on install now. It's going to take a maximum of 20 minutes to install. Sometimes it takes like 5 to 10 minutes, depends on your PC, depends on your Linux distro. So it's going to take that much of time. After installation, it's going to say finish and reboot. After the reboot, you should be having your Linux distro completely installed on your hard disk. If you choose hard disk, it should be on a hard disk. If you choose the VMware or a virtualization, it will be on a VMware or a VirtualBox. Or if you choose the something else option, you should be having a dual operating system or a dual partitioning, dual Linux or a dual operating system. Like one is Windows or Linux, whatever the other operating systems, it completely depends on you to customize. So that's the installation process. Let me close the installation and let's check out desktop features like a desktop background, all these things. These are all the new wallpapers available. Some of them are old, but these are some of the new wallpapers. So if you want to change, you can change it. So let's go to the settings quickly, go through all the settings: network, Bluetooth, background, notifications, multitasking, applications, privacy, online accounts, sharing, sounds, power, displays, mousepad and touchpad, keyboard, printers, removable disk or removable media, colors, region and language, universal access, users, default applications. It's a bit of delay because I'm running through very fastly. It's taking a few seconds there. And here you can see it's a bit of lag, or it just stuck there. So let's try to close this thing. If it closed, no, we can't close this thing. I think it's stuck there. So instead of waiting for that, let's check the pre-installed apps here. So these are all the pre-installed apps which comes with this Ubuntu Budgie. Let me go through all these things very fast. So these are all the available things: system tools, universal access. These are all the things. So I think we covered everything, I guess. So let's launch only the important apps, or just open the software manager, and I'm going to show you the versions right there instead of opening every single app. So here is a app store or a software manager, which is a 4.0. Let's check the updates. What are the updates? Some updates are available here. Let's check the installed versions. And instead of opening every single app, I am going to show you the version right here. It's going to take a few seconds to load up because it takes usually like that. So what are the important apps is right here are the, let's scroll it down. LibreOffice is important, so let's check what version we have here. It should be 7.5.2. and what else is here is there is a issue here, so we don't want to send it. Parallel Media Player version 4.18. Let's check other important things like we have a Thunderbird also. Let's check the Thunderbird also. It isn't here, so let's quickly open right here. Accessories, we don't need accessories. Games, just some games. Graphics, internet, we have Thunderbird here. Let me open Thunderbird also. On the Office side, we already showed the LibreOffice. We don't have a VLC media player, so it is okay. I think we covered everything. Let's check the version and open the system monitor and end the video. The version is 102.10.0. so let me close this thing. Let me open the system monitor and check the resources and end the video. So at first it was like a 1.3 GB I guess. Right now it's a 1.7 GB or 1.8 GB, which is a 47%. And here is the CPU. So it's up to you to use this Linux distro or not. It's up to you to judge the Linux distro. If you ask me, I'm not going to recommend this Linux distro. Not only this, Ubuntu Budgie, Ubuntu Kylin and Ubuntu Studio. Not the Studio I guess, I think some other Ubuntu flavor. That's the with 3 Ubuntu flavor Linux distro. I don't recommend this Linux distros. So it's clearly up to you. If you want to use it on your own. I have no problem with that. That's my own opinion. I don't want to use this Linux distro, which is Ubuntu Budgie, Ubuntu Kylin, and I think Ubuntu Studio I guess. Those are the 3 Linux distros. I hate them, but if you love it, I don't have any problem. So I think that's it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit the thumbs up button. It helps make a good content for you. Other than that, I'll see you in tomorrow's video. I already made another video of another Linux distro. If you want to check that out, you can check that out after this video. Peace out.
Press start.